A year has come to pass since my last full video post, and I'm sure with the few that are still here right now, the biggest question you probably have is what happened? For those new to this channel, welcome. I'm Amaniris, an illustrator and comic artist. I'm currently working on figuring out exactly what I want to do with this channel, so please do bear with me as I kind of trudge along and find my voice, essentially, for lack of a better way of stating that. Though, for now, for starters, let's tackle that question I mentioned of what exactly happened. So, the last video I posted was almost exactly a year ago, back in May 2024, and I'm talking about like a full-length video, not one of the shorts I happen to sporadically post. And at that time, things had probably obviously seemed super fine. I was getting a video every 2 weeks or so, at least once a month. And then all of a sudden I dropped off the video scene while my other online social activities and or like social media and such, any activities on those seemed alright, if not a little random at times. So before I get into exact details or more finer details, I'll give you some backstory. I live about an hour drive from my mom, so with that said, I don't technically see much of my family very often. Anyone else, like my brothers, I rarely see them at all unless something literally dramatic happens. And this, I hate to say it, was one of those sort of situations. There's been, let's say, tension in the family for as long as I can remember. I never was generally fully aware of it because, you know, children aren't, like, you might sense it, but you don't exactly know what it's about. But anyway, my mom and I noticed something odd going on with my dad around, we'll say 2018, 2019, one of those. Either way, several years back, it didn't generally reach its full peak, to say, till last year. And by the end of 2024, basically all our suspicions and awarenesses that we've had over this situation that we knew had at least either started around 2018 or 2019, or, you know, we just noticed it then. And last year is when it reached its final conclusion, for lack of a better way to put it, really. In short, without dancing around it any further, my adoptive father passed away, and both my adoptive mom and I knew it was generally a matter of time for, during that whole entire time since probably 2019 at least, and COVID probably just ended up making it worse or whatever. I can't honestly say. So but before you go, you know, placing any of your condolences or anything in the comments, know that I was not close to him. I haven't been close to him, like in terms of seeing him as like a fatherly figure, for a very, very long time. I only kept very minor contact with him, and that was all for my mother's sake, never for his or my own. And after his departure last year, things sadly only got worse. And most of that was on the financial side. Not mine, but my mother's. From there, after returning to journaling, and I also knew what my end goal was, which at this time was reaching at least 5 hours a day. So starting off with this, what I would personally consider to be a bare minimum of an hour, it was at least a good start. And then every about 10 to 20 days or so, I would add on like another 30 minutes and just keep building that up till I reached my goal of the 5 hours, which happened to also be in this May. And now that it's the end of May, I can at least say that it's worked out perfectly. So from Monday through Friday, I do 5 hours of artwork, and I split that time, not directly down the middle. It's usually about 3 hours of whether it's commissions or maybe personal art, whatever, just general based artworks. And then 2 of those hours I spend strictly doing only things related to my comics, because I understand my own personal limits, but this may not be the case for everyone. So, you know, make sure you understand your schedule about how long it takes you to naturally do things, and schedule it around that and whatever personally works best for you. This is just what has worked best for me. Now, having a comic does also help in this manner as well, because I find that having a long-term project does give you this motivation and something to work on, especially if you're not 100% sure as to what to work on. And while you're trying to recover, you know, from a tough experience, having something that's long-term rather than just these short endeavors or even a study, it still has to be something that you personally enjoy and can find fun, but also not be as strenuous as doing a study a day kind of thing. So for me, even during those stressful months prior and after September, and you know, a little bit after that, I still actually had a decent enough workflow, but it largely just came in bursts rather than something that I could measure and plan, like the 5 hours for 5 days a week kind of thing. So, and that for me doesn't work out well, because then I end up missing things, forgetting other things, and then losing motivation on finishing this or never even getting to that kind of thing. So no, setting up this kind of schedule for me, ensuring that I work on something every single day for an X amount of time, is extremely important to make sure that, 1, I don't forget stuff, and 2, it limits the loss of motivation for certain things, especially a long-term project. Some may call this discipline, but for me, I just honestly consider it necessary. Like I said, a lot of it is dependent on, you know, who you are, what your mindset is. And for me, this kind of scheduling and such, it's not negotiable for me. It has to be done because I know it works best for me. So, you know, when situations throw you off, I learn to plan better. Of course, you cannot plan for everything. Just like, you know, I didn't plan for what had happened last year. So, you know, when stuff like that does happen and throws you off, and then trying to get back into that scheduling is a lot harder than it was to like maintain it. So having for me to rebuild it back up from the ground up, essentially, it's been hard, and it's literally taking me since November or something just to get back into what is best for me. But you do also have to consider the fact that, and accept it, no matter what, is that sooner or later, at some point or another, despite how hard, you may work at building a schedule that suits you, it will eventually break one day, and it's entirely okay if it happens. You'll pick it back up and try again. It's not a big deal. It's exactly what happened to me. I lost my 5 hours a day, or 5 hours for 5 days a week schedule, and rather than, feel burdened by the fact that I had broken the schedule I had put on myself, I gave myself a break and I started up again. To me, it wasn't that big of a deal, but it also helps that I've gone through these sort of stressful, not this kind of situation specifically, but other very stressful situations that do break any cycles that you're trying to make. And you just have to, it's gonna happen regardless of what you try or say to do. And, you have to tell yourself that it's okay. It's gonna happen. You can't keep your schedule perfect all the time. So once you kind of realize that and are able to, I guess, settle on that reality. Oh, excuse me. I would say probably about every 30 days or so, I added on what I consider to be another healthy habit I had prior to all this had happened that is good for me. And, little by little, I piece things back together from, waking up at a time that I desired to reaching those 5 hours, 5 days a week. And, still having plenty of time to do whatever I wanted to or needed to in order to unwind for the day or, have fun in the weekends, regardless of what that is. The main point here is that even stressful situations, all stressful situations are going to happen. Regardless of what they are, they will set you off course. And, just be okay with it. It's gonna happen. It happens to everyone. There's not a person out there who doesn't go through some stressful situation in their life. So take the time you need to recover, even if it's just a little bit or a lot, whatever's best for you. Everybody, goes through these things at different paces. Make a list of all the good things you did prior to whatever this stressful situation is that puts you off track, and use that as your guide to begin again, essentially. There's nothing wrong with breaking off habits that you had set prior, or something that breaks your schedules or whatever, and then just trying again and picking it up again. It's kind of feels like human nature, I think. So right now, for me, I'm back to fully waking up when I personally desired, which is pretty early in the morning. I exercise daily and reached my desired working hours, and the rest is just more minor tweaks to that schedule, but I'm working on it and getting there. I'm mostly at the part where things I have left is just the minor things, nothing very big. So I think I'm almost there, back to where I personally want to be. So yeah, I think that's largely what happened this past year, and I'm glad to say I am doing much, much better. I mean, it's been a year, so definitely considerably better. As to what to expect going forward with my channel, I'm honestly still working that bit out as to what I want to do and share with everyone, but I think my most desired aspect of it is to focus more on my comic stuff rather than just the time-lapse videos of usually commissions or random art I've done. And yeah, like I said, I'm still largely figuring that out, and it'll probably be a bit of a mix around for the next few videos or things I do until I kind of settle into what I'm aiming for. And yeah, if you've come this far, thank you for watching and listening. Thank you to all my patrons and supporters. I'm largely here, able to do what I do because of you. Like, truly, absolutely truly. I probably would not be doing as much art as I am now if I didn't have the support that I do in this moment, so thank you. And until next time, stay creative.